Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, welcome to the next lecture in which I am going to talk about bad goods today. Okay. Before we do that, let us take the homework question. Let us see how to solve this homework question, beta. Dekho dhyan se what the question is saying. A college football coach says that given two linemen, A and B, he prefers the one who is bigger and faster. Is this relation transitive? तो देखो जरा ध्यान से. Suppose if I tell you that A is bigger and faster than B. B is bigger and faster than C. तो क्या होगा? A will be chosen over B. B will be chosen over C. तो क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि if A and C are given, तो A will be chosen? Yes. If A is bigger and faster than B, A B के मुकाबले में ज्यादा बड़ा और ज्यादा फास्ट है. B C के मुकाबले में, in comparison to C, he is more bigger and faster. So A will be more bigger and faster in comparison to C. So A will be chosen na in comparison to C also. So we can say that this is transitive. हम बोल सकते हैं that these are transitive preferences. So we can go ahead and say that therefore these preferences are transitive. ये preferences को हम transitive बोल सकते हैं. These preferences are transitive. Am I clear with it, बच्चे? ठीक है. Now बेटा completeness की बात करते हैं. ठीक है. तो suppose completeness means what? I should be able to tell what should be done in a particular situation. मैं दो bundles को हमेशा compare कर पाऊं. I should be able to compare two bundles. अच्छा, tell me something. Suppose I tell you that A का height is 5.8. हाँ, and his speed is 70 kilometer per hour. Just an example, huh? And B का height is also 5.8 and his speed is also 70 kilometer per hour. मतलब both of them have same, are equally big and equally fast. Equally big and equally fast. Does this question tell you what will be done in that case? क्या ये बताता है कि उस केस में फुटबॉल कोच किसको चूज करेगा? Does it tell you who will the football coach choosing? It does not. It does not tell you whether the football coach will choose person A or person B. ये बता ही नहीं रहा कि दोनों में से किसको फुटबॉल कोच चूज करेगा. So if it cannot tell you which person the football coach will choose, मतलब this is not complete. You cannot compare in all circumstances. यहाँ पे comparison हो नहीं पा रहा, बता नहीं पा रहे कि A के साथ जाए या B के साथ जाए या दोनों के साथ चले जाए, किसी को भी ले ले randomly. So therefore these preferences are not complete since no comparison criteria is given for above case. है ना? So therefore it is not complete. समझ गए बात को? Is this clear, बेटा? Okay. Now let us go to goods which are bad goods. What are bad goods? Any good which you don't like is called as a bad good. Okay. So a commodity that the consumer doesn't like is called a bad good. any commodity which consumer doesn't like, जो consumer को पसंद ना हो, that is called as a bad good. For example, I don't like mushrooms. ठीक है, but I love cheese. So cheese, when you increase the consumption of cheese, my satisfaction increases. मेरा utility बढ़ता है. ठीक है, but for mushroom, when you increase the consumption of mushroom, my satisfaction or utility decreases. तो जब आप चीज का कंजम्पशन बढ़ाते हो, when you increase the consumption of cheese, right, my satisfaction or utility will increase. But when you increase the consumption of mushroom, my satisfaction or utility will decrease. हाँ बेटा, तो cheese is a good for me and mushroom is a bad good for me. ठीक है. Now question is, how do we make indifference curve in this case? हम इस केस में indifference curve कैसे बनाते हैं? तो what is the property of indifference curve? All points on indifference curve should give you same level of satisfaction. जो भी points indifference curve पे आ रहे हैं, whatever points are coming on the indifference curve, they should give you the same level of satisfaction. They should give you the same level of utility. ठीक है, तो now what we can do ना, suppose I go ahead and I take, अच्छा, this is okay, you can take good on x axis also and good on y axis also, किसी भी एक में ले सकते हो. ठीक है, so suppose I go ahead and I take mushroom here and I take cheese here. ठीक है, and I take any point, कोई भी एक point ले लो. Suppose I take point A. Point A पर I have x1 amount of cheese and y1 amount of mushroom. Now I am looking for a point जो मुझे same satisfaction दे as point A. It should give me the same satisfaction as point A. ठीक है, so consider point B बेटा. ठीक है, when I go to point B, I have increased the consumption of cheese. तो जब मैं point A से point B पर गई, from A to B, I have increased the consumption of cheese, है ना. When I increase the consumption of cheese, जब मैंने cheese का consumption बढ़ाया, cheese is a good for me, ये मेरे लिए good है, right? So when I increase the consumption of cheese, it will increase the utility of the consumer. Consumer का satisfaction बढ़ जाएगा. ठीक है, but when I go from point A to B, I have increased the consumption of mushroom also. So increased consumption of mushroom. Mushroom का भी consumption बढ़ा दिया है हमने. I have increased the consumption of mushroom also. So when I will increase the consumption of mushroom, बेटा mushroom is a bad good. तो अगर उसका consumption हम y1 to y1 dash करेंगे, when we will increase the consumption of mushroom, what will happen to my utility? There will be decrease in the utility. So one is increasing utility, one is decreasing utility. So what is the net effect? Utility is unchanged. एक ने यूटिलिटी को बढ़ाया, one increased utility, one decreased utility, so utility remained unchanged. And as long as utility is unchanged, they will be on same indifference curve, same in IC पे होंगे. So what we can go ahead and we can say that if I join these 2 points, they will be on same indifference curve. This will be my indifference curve. Okay, same you can compare any other point, point C. Point C पे भी same हो रहा है. You are increasing cheese, utility is increasing. Increasing mushroom, utility is decreasing. एक से utility बढ़ रहा है, दूसरे से कम हो रहा है. One is increasing utility, other is decreasing utility. Net utility is unchanged. So we can say that utility at point A, that means satisfaction at point A, satisfaction at point B, satisfaction at point C is the same. Consumer is indifferent between point A, B and C. Okay. Now, beta, there is something which is known as direction of preference. Okay. Direction of preference. क्या होता है direction of preference? What is direction of preference? It tells us in which direction consumer wants to move. किस डायरेक्शन में वो अपने इंडिफरेंस कर्व देखना चाहता है. सो इफ वी यूजुअली सी फॉर वेल डिफाइंड इंडिफरेंस कर्व, जो हमारे यूजुअल इंडिफरेंस कर्व हैं जो हम बनाते हैं डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग, व्हाट इज द डायरेक्शन ऑफ प्रेफरेंस बच्चे? जस्ट सी हियर, इफ दिस इज माय इंडिफरेंस कर्व, दिस इज गुड x, दिस इज गुड y, है ना? तो यूजुअली व्हाट हैपेंस, consumer wants to increase the demand of good X and increase the demand of good Y. Consumer को X का डिमांड भी बढ़ाना है और Y का डिमांड भी बढ़ाना है. Since consumer wants to increase the demand of both the goods, we find the direction of preference from between. ऐसे माने higher the indifference curve, more the utility. Right? So we can say that in this case, consumer wants to increase the demand of both the goods, right? So direction of preference is, I can just label this, कुछ नाम दे देते हैं, A to B, है ना? Now consider the case of bad good. So now suppose I go ahead and I consider कि good Y is a bad good. Good good and bad good. Right? And this is my indifference curve. ये मेरा IC है. Indifference curve. Now what does consumer want, beta? Consumer wants to increase good X. ये X वाला जो good है, X axis पे जो है, वो तो good है. He wants to increase good X. But what does he want? He wants to reduce good Y. जितना कम मुझे bad good दोगे उतना better. The lesser good Y you give me, the better it is. So if I take good X and good Y, I want to increase the demand of good X. X तो मुझे बढ़ाना है. It is a good good. I want to decrease the demand of good Y. It is a bad good. I don't want good Y, so I want to lower good Y. So what will be the direction of preference? Direction of preference will be like this. It means that the indifference curve जो right side होता जाएगा, the indifference curve which will come towards right, right and right will give me more utility. जैसे here I am saying that utility from indifference curve 2 is more than utility from indifference curve 1. This indifference curve is giving me more satisfaction. ये मुझे ज्यादा satisfaction दे रहा है. This indifference curve is giving me less satisfaction, right? So now here I can say that if this is IC1, so indifference curve 2 will be here, beta. Direction of preference is like this. So indifference curve 3 will be here. Clear? So I can say that my utility from indifference curve 2 is more than utility from indifference curve 1. Utility from indifference curve 3 is more than utility from indifference curve 2. Mane, the more right I come, the more is the utility. So this is giving me more utility than this. This is giving me more utility than this, and so on and so forth. Samajh rahe ho? Is this making sense? Okay. So the direction, so please write down. The direction of increasing preference is down and to the right. Right? That is towards the direction of decreasing bad good. Right? And increasing good good. So I want to decrease the bad good and increase the good good. Clear? Okay, beta. Now the last point here, please write down that the indifference curve are upward sloping. है ना? जब हमने bad good का indifference curve बनाया, they are upward sloping. Why, beta? Because when we increase the consumption of good, we must increase consumption of bad good to hold utility constant. तो जब हम एक पॉइंट से दूसरे पे आए, वी इंक्रीज्ड द कंजम्पशन ऑफ द गुड गुड, तो हमें बैड गुड का कंजम्पशन भी बढ़ाया. जब गुड गुड का कंजम्पशन बढ़ाया, यूटिलिटी बढ़ी. जब बैड गुड का कंजम्पशन बढ़ाया, यूटिलिटी कम हुई. एक से यूटिलिटी बढ़ रही है, दूसरे से कम हो रही है. नेट इज यूटिलिटी अनचेंज्ड है. Am I making sense? So when we are increasing the consumption of good, increasing the consumption of good, your utility is increasing. Increasing consumption of bad good, your utility is decreasing. So the net effect is utility is unchanged along an indifference curve. So क्योंकि we are increasing both of them, because we are increasing both, it is upward sloping. Clear? Homework beta. Now good X is a bad good. Good Y is a good good. Plot indifference curve. Good X is a bad good. Good Y is a good good. You need to plot indifference curve and mark direction of preference. दोनों चीजें बताना है. First, you need to go ahead and plot the indifference curve. Second, you need to tell what will be the direction of preference. Right? Okay, beta. Thank you.